Reflections of Pontius Pilate. The dusty April wind carried a tide of psalms flooding the hills with the mark of mankind changing. It was a time marked by bits of bloody flesh stuck to the sole of the Roman sandal and the armor of their offer to harmonize the cries for order. Rome did what all mankind had begged when first two beasts became neighbors, when we angleworms fed off one another. Demonic conduct always laid just beneath the mask of order. The mask would drop by inches, accepted by degrees, until fear from every corner rid night streets of decent men. It was in Rome as before and since, when a horse cart creaked in a midnight street, terror gripped the meek. Our Senate outraged by vicious rogues, the rhetoric stilled by sundown. Indignant and determined, they knew anarchy could not withstand that Roman fist that left just pillars stand where races were, silent in the dawn of ages to come. Oh, the white and red elegance, the eloquence in the Senate hall. An episode they thought unique is a pattern set in stone. Remember, societies desperate for social order prefer the sound of the soldier's sword to the uncertain stammer of justice. We bred the Roman guard dog and prayed it would not turn to take our throats. Tyrants don't force themselves upon us. They are recruited and carried forward by our fears. And yes, the fearful are so easily led. I had searched for perfection all my life and believed it could be found on the scrolls above the mark of Caesar. The history of tyrants is episodic. In the dawn of their rule we exult in their power. By noon, question it. By dusk, fear it. By nightfall, plot against it. Every horror real. So it has been since the birth of the fist. The history of history was episodic. Prior to him, life was the endless tide, a day, a man, an empire, one like the next, in, then out, an unconcluding succession of humanity, done again and again, promised to be such until the altar of mankind eroded and blew away. On foul-smelling afternoons, I would pass rows of Jews suspended on poles covered with dust and flies, rotting black and swollen hideously under the pitiless sun, and I hardly took notice at all. And like the approach of another tide, much like the day before, rib-caged dogs, half shy, half mad, made attempts at men lashed high above the ground, or licked the poles below, and I hardly took notice at all. Then he who said our worth was more than royal decree usurped the tablets that made legions move. O God, he said the tide was counting. He marked an end when God was a welcomed guest at every table, providing God kept his opinion to himself. The rabbi emptied banquet chairs across the world. Still, I offered him 100 exits in the name of sanity, and he stubbornly refused them all. I see. Morality does not exist until it becomes a liability to you. Under the ghastly stench of Golgotha, love was first born in the death throes of a Jew. Character for humanity was hammered out by a stained and filthy hilltop mallet, and every tyrant died when the thorned head sighed and burned the scrolls that bore the mark of Caesar. I know that history will display my head upon a plate. I saw the changing of the world, but could not prevent my role in it. But upon my soul God told me he wrote no villains in that play. But should we forget we are divinely bred, we could well be reminded by a highway ribboned with dangling humanity, be reminded by the resounding crack of 10,000 hilltop mallets, be reminded that each tide moves the banks a bit closer to the source.